Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast.
Good morning. This is Traci Hales with Right On Four Corners on KSJE 90.9 FM in Farmington, New Mexico, and 103.3 in Durango, Colorado. Today I'm talking with E. Joe Brown about his book, A Cowboy's Destiny, Kelly Can Saga, #1.
Well, hello, Traci. Good to hear your voice.
And good to hear yours. Now, I am familiar with you in other ways besides A Cowboy through...
All right.
Yeah, New Mexico Remembers 9/11. I talked to Patricia Walco about and read that one and found your name.
Oh, yeah. Pat and I are members of a group called Corellis Writers Group.
Who am I familiar with also?
Well, I enjoy being with Pat and Chris, Sandy, Peter, Maureen. They're all wonderful writers, and I gain a lot from that alliance, I tell you.
Everyone I've talked to from the Corellis Writing Group has been really energetic and really good writers, so it sounds like it's a good place to be.
Well, I'm finding it wonderful.
And you also have some writings, little short essays in some of their anthologies, right?
That is correct. I have one piece called Hey Coach that's in the anthology, not this past year, but the previous year, put out by Southwest Writers. And I have several other short pieces, I guess you'd call them chat books or short stories. My writing all started based on being encouraged to write about what really is a memoir about my hero, Mickey Mantle. I met Mickey when I was 14 years old, and we had a unique experience. And then I met him again at 22, and before I could even say a word, he goes, "Joey, where you been?"
Oh.
He called, and one place was at the baseball field in Kansas City when I met him at 14, and then at 22, I'm in Lubbock, Texas, married, and I'm managing a store similar to a Walmart. You know, I'm showing up at a grand opening of his restaurant. Recognized me. Didn't even know if we'd have a conversation, although he had spent a great deal of time with me when I was 14. But he actually met me. He recognized me and made me feel really special. And the details of that story I've shared with people, and they encourage me. That story has been published 5 times, including Sports Collectors Digest, a national magazine. So,
wow, congratulations.
Very pleased. And that story now, along with memorabilia from the night that I met Mickey the first time, is now in the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I'm just really lucky.
No kidding. That is a great story. I'm glad you had it written and people are reading it.
When I started the process of writing that story, I found that I loved to write. And I had a story in the back of my mind for many years that was inspired by my maternal grandfather, and that followed.
Oh.
A Cowboy's Destiny and the books that'll follow.
I guess this would be a good time for you to give us a little synopsis of A Cowboy's Destiny. What's this book about?
Well, the book is about a young man. Actually, it's a story that'll be a series of books, but book 1, A Cowboy's Destiny, starts with Charlie Kelly, a teenager. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, the last years of Buffalo Bill's life, he actually had shut his show down and was part of the 101's all that show. And movie actors from 100 years ago, like Tom Mix and Will Rogers and so forth, they all had a period of time that they were part of that Wild West show. Anyway, my maternal grandfather was a cowboy at that ranch in his late teens, and he had a lot of wonderful stories. And so I started writing this, and I used my granddad, Kelly, so I used the same last name. Some of what is in the book is based on my grandfather. Most what's in the book is pure fiction. But throughout this book, you see Charlie go through some internal struggles to find himself and be the man he wants to be, and be the cowboy that, where his word is always his bond, his handshake's as good as any contract, and that he always has his buddy's back. That's kind of the cowboy way. He wants to be that man. And this story shows him going through some growth, becoming a top hand at the 101, and being so good at what he does that he ends up working directly for one of the Miller brothers. There's 3 Miller brothers that own the 101 ranch, and having inherited them by this time from their dad. So I include real people as well as totally fictional people. And Charlie aspires to something, and in book 1, he makes it. Along the way, he actually meets the lady who will become his wife as well. So there's for those that like that kind of thing, and I'm a romantic guy, so I kind of wanted him to have a girlfriend, and he ends up with a wife.
He does. That often happens like that.
Yes, it does.
Charlie Kelly is quite the guy. I mean, he is a strong person. You've made him a real unique and special guy who is stronger than most and really carries through with what he's doing.
That is exactly how I hope he comes across, and I've had several people, including some of my Corellis Writers Group friends. Susan, who becomes his wife, is a very strong and strong-willed and a woman, and they balance each other quite well. Very respectful to each other, and I hope that's the case.
And I noticed that and was going to bring it up because I appreciate the strong woman, because in that period of the country, women, it was difficult for them.
But in future books, Susan becomes friends with Marjorie Post, and so they kind of share this, and of course they're both run in circles of that means that they meet, and they will become friends because like you just stated, women were just getting the right to vote at this time.
Right.
And it took a very strong woman to do what Susan ends up doing, and what Marjorie Post in taking over her late father's huge business. You
have 2 more coming up in this series, in the Kelly Can saga?
At least 2 more.
Oh, good.
When I went on contract with my publisher, I already had 400,000 words written in the story.
Oh.
And he said, well, we've certainly got at least 3 books. He said, I could say we probably have 5, because he said we discussed things that happened that would happen if we used it all. And he said, there might be 5 books.
Jeff Habiger from Artemisia Press.
Exactly. I'll tell you, great man.
Yeah.
He's a fine guy. I've grown very fond of Jeff, and I think it has nothing to do with the fact he's my publisher. It has everything to do that he's a fine man.
He really is. He really is. That's why I brought him up, because he's been good to authors.
Well, he certainly has been to me.
Now, Joe, do you think you could read a little bit from A Cowboy's Destiny for us?
Charlie, did you see that? Dan asked. Yep. Charlie turned to Dan and said, Little Deer wouldn't have started this. they had just witnessed, of course, is that their friend Little Deer has just been knocked to the ground. So I'm going to put this in now.
Okay.
And an older man is standing over him. So then Dan says, "You're right. What are you going to do?" "What I always do, clean up another mess." Charlie dropped his supplies into the wagon and entered the street to help his friend. He could see the old man's eyes narrow, the troublemaker's face filled with tension as he rocked back and forth. In a calm and confident voice, Charlie asked, "What's the problem?" The man stepped away from Little Deer, looked up at Charlie, who was a head taller, and grumbled, "This here savage was gonna steal my horse." "He was gonna steal your horse?" Charlie took another step toward him. The old man staggered, then gathered himself. "'Cause he was a-standing next to it when I come out of the Pecos." Little Deer dusted himself off. Are you good, my friend?" Charlie said. "Oh, I'm fine. You be careful. This old coot is drunk, crazy, or both." Charlie moved in on the old man. "Mister, Little Deer here owns a beautiful buckskin pony. He doesn't need your horse." The drunk staggered his face in a sneer. "So you're taking his side, huh?" He pulled his knife. "I'm going to cut you." He lunged, the blade almost catching Charlie's right shoulder. "Whoa, old man, take it easy." He grabbed the wrist of the hand that held the knife. Charlie's face burned red with anger raging inside him, and he could feel his limbs begin to shake. "Oh, no," as he bellowed, "let me loose." Charlie kicked the knife away and released his grip. Marshal Bernard walked quickly toward him. "Hold on there." He stepped between Charlie and the old man. "Reuben, you can't stay out of trouble for 2 minutes. I just broke up a fight you started over cards, and now you're out here starting another one. You boys get out of here." That's one of the early scenes in the book. It's not the first chapter or anything, but it's very early, and it begins to show a pattern of Charlie.
Right.
He's stepping in and helping out.
Right. It shows his personality of how he doesn't like to see anybody get hurt in any way.
Absolutely. Whether it's a friend or a family member, a brother, a dad, fixes things when he can.
Right.
The guy that's a later scene as Charlie and Dan are in their buckboard heading home, Dan basically asks Charlie, "Well, what would you have done if the marshal hadn't arrived when he did?" And Charlie's response is, "Brother, I don't know for sure. I couldn't let it cut me,
Right.
But with a sigh, he says, I'm getting mighty tired of cleaning up other people's messes."
Right.
And then in that scene, he'll lament how that he's ready to get out on his own, and he wants to go and prove himself on a big ranch, not the smaller ranch that they're working on as a family right now. And he literally describes that what I really want, what I'd love to do, is to work on that big Miller's 101 ranch out in northern Oklahoma. Being a cowboy working that huge spread must be heaven. Everybody knows about the 101, and that pretty much sets the stage for the next several chapters of Charlie getting out on his own and starting the process of heading to the 101. I could read a short passage that is the scene where Charlie arrives at the 101. It is several months from the scene I just was talking about, but because Charlie in the story needs to find a place to winter.
Right.
He's out on horseback with his horse Tony, and it's coming on winter, and he's able to get on at a ranch in Perkins, Oklahoma. Perkins is a place that I know quite well.
Oh.
I grew up in the and graduated high school in Cushing, Oklahoma. And Cushing is about 15 miles from Perkins, so I kind of picked a place that I'm familiar with. But anyway, Charlie, when he arrives up there, Charlie, the kind of guy he is, he let the Meehans, that's the ranch at Perkins, know that his real goal is to go a little farther north and work at the 101. And so they put him on, and as it turned out, they're very glad they did. And the foreman at the Meehan Ranch said, "Hey, I totally get that, and I won't stand in your way. We could just use your help." And Charlie learns that the 101 is hiring, and he goes to Hank Cottrell, the foreman, and lets him know, "Well, I think I need to move on, but I hate to leave you." And Hank's response is, "No, it's time. You need to go on. You need to follow your dream." Rides in, and he's finally at the front of the line of the hands, or the Cowboys trying to become hands, and says, the passage goes, "He arrived at the head of the line and was now the focus of the man who sat behind the table. He appeared to be the foreman. He was a big man, a grizzled old cowboy who had likely many years at the 101 and maybe other ranches as well. All Charlie knew for sure was that Hank had said, 'My old friend,' because Boss Bellamy is up there," and Hank gave Charlie a letter of recommendation. "Name? Charles Kelly, sir." Boss looked up at his response, and Charlie gave him a big friendly grin. Boss's frown broke into a grin. "Do you have experience working cattle or doing anything supporting the ranch?" "Sure have, sir. I cowboyed in New Mexico at the Cornerstone outfit while finishing high school. I also worked the Cullum Ranch down in Stevens County here in Oklahoma. I just rode in from Perkins. I have a letter here from Hank Cottrell, foreman down at the Meehan." Boss looked up again, nodded, took the letter and read it. He smiled big and said, "Okay, you'll do fine. We pay $30 a month plus room and board." Charlie is now hired at the 101.
His dream.
Yep, he just got his dream. Now if he can just become a top hand.
Right.
And we're not even quite halfway through by this time. Well, no, we're halfway through. But the balance of the book is some additional, because Charlie's already had some challenges getting up to the 101.
Yes.
But he has some additional challenges to prove himself, and I hope the reader will find it to be interesting.
I really like the way he deals with some of those challenges, especially the guy who kept giving him a hard time.
Oh, you're talking about out at the 101?
Yes.
Yeah. Ad Spencer. He's a piece of work.
He is a piece of work. And I don't want to give a lot away, but it really shows what a strong character Charlie has and how he deals over, several chapters with him, with Dad.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you think so, Tracy. That was the picture I tried to paint.
And it's a good story. I mean, Charlie goes way beyond what he'd ever imagined for himself.
Yeah. He proves to be a fine leader of men and someone that could be trusted.
Right,
and,
right.
That had a great deal to do with him being someone that Boss truly depended on, and George Miller becoming very interested in having Charlie come to work for him directly.
Right.
Giving him an opportunity that's going to lead to opportunities in the future.
Absolutely. Charlie and Susan in the next books, correct?
Actually, I'll share this.
Okay.
The rest of the books, depending on how many I write, will absolutely be Charlie and Susan and their life as they create their own future. I don't think it's given away too much to let the listener know that Susan, although Charlie doesn't know this until right before they get married.
Right, right.
That Susan comes from wealth. I won't say too much about it.
Don't.
But,
Yeah.
but because of that, opportunities will present themselves that allow all these character traits that you've described in Charlie to blossom.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to find is that and the strengths and abilities in Susan, they become phenomenal partners and create some very special things in their life. And my plan is to take them through lives as parents and as business people and ranch owners. And as a matter of fact, I think this, my publisher thinks, the Kelly Can saga is a mixture of Lonesome Dove
Yeah.
and Dallas and Dynasty from the television shows that people, that are our age, or I shouldn't, I don't know how to, those of us that
You're right. You're right.
but those of us that were watching television in the 80s and 90s,
Right.
we know about Dynasty and Dallas.
Right. Right.
I would say especially Dallas, because Dallas
Yep.
is ranchers and oilmen, and
Right.
the 101 ranch became quite an oil business as well as a huge cattle ranch and agriculture period. People want to research the 101 ranch, they'll find that was a place that had about a dozen or more businesses built into the wealth.
Right. Right. That was fascinating to learn about. Now, I have another question for you. And I keep seeing your name come up associated with music. I don't see music in the book. So how does that play into your life?
I've been influenced to use music as part of my book signing. So
Oh.
I probably will set up with a song, and I will probably end the book signing with something along the lines of Happy Trails. But I have been involved in music from my youth. As a matter of fact, in Cushing, Oklahoma, when I was graduating from high school, they elected a king and a queen for a lot of organizations, football teams, basketball teams, which I was all part of. I was a jock, but I also sang in the chorus.
Oh.
And I became the king of the chorus, and by that time I'd already done a little singing in a rock band. I'd done a little folk singing and those kind of things, and throughout my life it's always been there. My wife and I met at a university in Oklahoma, and she was a music major. I was not, but I did sing in the men's glee club. And through music is how we met.
Oh, wow.
And she and I have done Broadway plays, Oklahoma, My Fair Lady, those things. And we've been in master chorales in Southern California. We lived in Southern California for 31 years. We were in a master chorale down in L.A. County. That happened. And then for the last 10 to 15 years, I've been part of the International Western Music Association, where I started the chapter in the state of New Mexico. I was appointed a New Mexico State Music Commissioner by the governor. So,
well, congratulations! Wow.
So I have done a little music over my lifetime, but I never did it as a professional, meaning I never did it for pay. Now, does that mean I never was paid? No. I just mean that that was never something that I did for my livelihood.
Right.
My wife and I and my sister, about 10 to 15 years ago, about 10, 12 years ago, were a trio entertaining in Southern California, and our last gig was at Paramount Studios in Studio City, L.A.
Wow.
And it was the 75th anniversary of Republic Pictures. Now, for those that know, virtually all the B westerns of Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, and so forth, and all the other, cowboys. Their movies were produced by Republic Pictures. So we were one of about 8 acts that were brought in, and we entertained at the 75th anniversary celebration. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, it sounds like it. Well, that's exciting.
So I have done a little music too, but but I tell you, Traci, this writing thing has got me more fascinated in jazz than just about anything in a long time, and I've had some fun things in my life. So
well, I'm glad because the results of your efforts and your passion are really fun to read.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Folks listening, she's not going to get a stipend at the end of this.
That's true.
I'm not paying.
Nope.
Oh boy.
So your website, if people want to go look at it, is
ejoebrown.com.
Okay.
That's the website, and on that website, it can take you to my Facebook page, Instagram, whatever. And on the website, there's a bio, a list of appearances where I'm going to be. I've got about, I think, 7 or 8 book signings coming up. This radio program and 2 additional are planned already.
Great.
And it's all there. I've been blogging for several months now.
Okay.
The focus of the blogs, and it's on the website, are subject matter to help everyone understand or follow a cowboy's destiny. Things about locations, things about what was going on at the time, and a little bit about the inspiration. Like I mentioned early on, inspiration for me started with my grandfather Clarence Kelly.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Thank you for this opportunity, Traci. I really do appreciate it, and I know you have a really good following. Thank you so much. Really honored that you reached out to me to do this.
And that was E. Joe Brown talking to us from Corrales, New Mexico, about his book, A Cowboy's Destiny, Kelly Cant's Saga, Book 1. This is Traci Hales with Right on Four Corners on KSJE 90.9 FM and 103.3.
Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.